Hello, friends. In a previous short, I gave you a peek at this little palette that I have. It was The Big Well by John Pike. This is from my college days. So let me tell you, that was about 40 years ago, 40 years plus. And I mean, look at this thing. It's definitely seen better days, but I love it. And it's got some stains, it's got some yellowing on the side, it's even got some cracks. By the way, I looked up to see if this company was even around anymore, and they are. And they actually have an updated version of this palette that is about $50. So I was kind of surprised. So here's the inside of my palette. I mean, look at all this. This is 40 years ago. Same type of colors, turquoises, greens, yellows, reds, pinks spattered throughout. So, you know, some things never change. But look how fun this is. This is, and God knows if these even work. So I haven't opened this up in decades. So I'm going to go ahead and spray these and let's see if we can paint with them. These are Winsor Newtons, by the way. You can kind of see how I had originally laid out my palette. I'm sure it was, you know, told to me by whoever my professors were. I've kind of got some neutrals. I know a lot of you asked me about this. My pinks and reds, my warms. Here's all my blue type colors. I even have opera rose, lemon yellow. So I'm gonna spray this and let it sit here a minute. And let's just see if we can get these reactivated. And if we can, I'm going to go ahead and I will paint a little something and we'll see how well they've really stood the test of time. Back in college, this is what we did. So I've got a little bit of an idea of what these colors are. Now, over the years, they might have changed. Orange, alizarin crimson, black, what is that? Magenta perm. My brown. So how fun is that? Opera rose, rose madder, of course, my favorite color still. And then into my greens. Not sure what happened with that one. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Looks like this might have been Viridian, but I ran out of it, I suppose. So I've given these a little spray. I'm actually just going to add a tiny bit more because I see a few of these that interestingly kind of just soaked that water right up. I don't blame them. They're pretty dried out. And this will definitely be a great, you know, comment on Winsor Newton paints. These are all the professional Winsor Newton paints. So let's play a bit here. Let's see. Let me find a scrap paper. And I'm going to somewhat play with some of these colors. This is just an inexpensive scrap paper, and then I'll paint something. And let's just see if they even are going to show up here. So I'm going to first go into that beautiful red purple. Look at that. Good as new, you guys. I mean, creamy, saturated, vibrant. Isn't that amazing? I mean, I haven't gotten into this palette in, like I said, decades. Here's that beautiful opera rose. Wow. It's almost like a fluorescent pink, and I was in love with that color for years. I kind of switched recently to the Quin Rose. Here's our alizarin crimson red. Gorgeous and nice warm red. All right, so these are looking pretty good. Let me swatch out a couple of these greens. There we go. That is the Winsor Newton Sap Green. Wanted to make sure that was the color. There you go. I mean, these are working perfectly. So there you go. If you ever are curious how long your Winsor Newton paints can last, these are 40 plus years old and still working great. Actually, I take that back. I was in my 20s, so that was probably 30 plus years ago. But look at that. Let's go ahead and play and just create a little something here. I am going to, let's go into, I think I'm going to play with that pinky color. I think, let's see, the name of it, Magenta Perm. It's a gorgeous color. It reminds me of the red violet. If you have my Lang, very similar. It's that real reddish pinky violet. And let's go into the center here. So point press, using the tip of my brush, point press, point press, and I'll tap into the middle here. Boy, I always just, I really did love those Winsor Newtons. I mean, they didn't give us a choice in school. It was like, that's just what you bought. Now, of course, for the amount of painting I'm doing all day long, it would be quite pricey. Just doesn't make sense to me to paint with them all the time because, like I said, they're kind of pricey. So there's a little flower. Let's add in, let's see, how about we go into the center of it with, let's try this red. Let's see, what red is that? This red I'm grabbing is Rose Madder. And I'll just tap into the middle there. Look how pretty that is. So I'm just touching in wet on wet, and I'm wetting my brush, and then I tap it off and just rest my hand here. The other thing I'm gonna go ahead and do is in the edges of the petals, I'm just gonna make them a little bit more interesting and kind of ruffle the edges, because that's kind of my thing. So let's keep going, grab a little bit more. I'm so excited. I'm gonna have to write to Winsor Newton and tell them how wonderful these paints are. Okay, so there is our flower. I'm gonna go in next to this one. I can pick up a little, see that lifting? That's always fun. And maybe there, lift a little. And then I think I'll let that dry. Well, we could put in just a touch of Prussian blue just to the center, kind of make it look like an anemone. There you go. Kind of one of my favorite flowers. And let's do some leaves here. So I'm just going to mix that sap green here, get a little of that in my palette. And you know, I would never have known those paints have been dry for decades. And then let's go in here, point press. There's a leaf. Point press. Point press. A few more here, maybe some little ones peeking out. Yeah, these are working excellent. I mean, seriously, I just would never have known these have been dry. And that is the value of buying good paints. But for your practice, I really think, you know, use what makes sense for you economically. If you're going to be selling your work or something, of course, definitely use the better grade paints. So there you go. The colors are still vibrant. They're beautiful. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just add in a little something here. How about we create another flower over here, and let's use a pretty blue. Oh, this was one of my favorite colors. It was their turquoise blue, and of course, right, because we love that turquoise color. So I'm going to put a little bit of that in my palette. There we go. And let's just create a flower, maybe kind of peeking out here to the side, point press. Look at that bright blue. It looks like a peacock, doesn't it? By the way, that would be a fun painting to do. Again, kind of make those edges kind of interesting. And grab a little bit more for right here. Look how pretty that is. Aren't those gorgeous? I'm gonna go into the middle. Let's see, what color should we do in the middle? Let's get kind of crazy here. And maybe we can use some of that violet, or I could use that Prussian blue. Here we go. Pick up a little bit more of that. Gosh, this is so weird to be painting with this palette. I remember painting with these, and I loved my paints. Like, I just remember that feeling, you know? There we go. We'll add a little bit more. How about we add some, ooh, let's see. Let's use a little bit of the browns. And some things just never change because I see the colors that are lowest on my palette and they're the exact same colors I use these days. So that's always kind of funny to me when you look at that. I've always been drawn to the pinks, and I'm just going to create maybe a couple, let's see here. How about if we create just a little branch coming out here. And then we'll go into that with our green. Looks like I had another green here, but there's nothing in there right now. There we go. Trying to kind of vary these leaves here. Grab some more paint. So basically what I've got here is one color of green. I see another green in here. Let's see what color that is. Excuse me, I have a frog in my throat. So I'm not sure what color this is. It looks like, well, let's see. It is Sennelier green. I never could say that word. Let's go right here. Ooh, that's a pretty green, isn't it? Just adding some different colors in between. And make sure with your leaves, you know, you're overlapping them. You're having them come out. Maybe one's right in front of your brush. Your branch. And then some lighter colors like that. So we've got all kinds of leaves coming out there. I feel like I want to put maybe some little turquoisey like maybe little buds, something like that. And I really love adding in browns to my florals. So just gonna tap in a little bit of the brown. There we go. And just using the tip of my brush, joining all these little buds together. And there you go. So look at how well these are holding up. I'm just really pleasantly surprised. I had a feeling of, especially with a Winsor Newton paint, that these would be just fine. I'm gonna go into my black here and kind of do a circle, since this is a little bit, that to me is so representative and identifiable with the anemones. This one I might shoot just really quickly. Hold on, you can fast forward if you like. There we go. It's so cold here right now and rainy that things take a little bit longer to dry. So I've got a thicker paint on the end of my brush because I want some clear type of brush strokes. So less water, and this is dry now, pretty dry. So I'm gonna go in that circle. Excuse that camera shake there. And that to me is just, you know, I'm always trying to find what's identifiable about certain flowers. And when I can get that, it's, I don't have to be so particular about the shapes and perfection and things like that. I think what I might do is maybe put a couple leaves coming out here. So let's grab that brown. This is the Winsor Newton Burnt Umber, a little bit deeper brown, and maybe come out this way, just with some little brush strokes, and then I'll go in like I did here with that green. There we go. Adding in some different ones, small ones, large ones. So some of these are just a little dab, some are a little bit longer. There we go. And maybe some of that Sennelier green. And overlap your, don't be afraid to overlap your leaves either. That's definitely something you can do. Maybe touch in here, and I'll touch into these with some of that brown as well, because I love that brown. Let's have one, maybe part of one is peeking out here. There we go, just to make it a little bit fuller, and I might even add some of these blue turquoisey buds down here. Yeah, I think that's pretty. So it's really drawing your eye around these. Pick up a tiny bit of green on my brush there. And there you go. Look at how fun that is. So I hope this, it's good information to have that these paints, good paints, can last forever. And we don't know. Maybe the Mylang would do the same. I don't think a lot of us have that opportunity a lot of times to test that out. I just happened to come across my palette and thought, oh my gosh, I wonder if these even work. Do some darker. There we go. Just some small and some large brush strokes. All right, I think the last little touch, because I'm really kind of obsessed, I think these are going to be my obsession this year, is these Artex markers, acrylic markers, because they're so great. They're brush tips. You don't have to shake to activate them. You pull the lid off, they're ready to go. And I'm just going to, and they're really opaque, which is what I'm loving about them. Now, I'm noticing on this one, because I've been using it to do exactly what I'm doing right now, the tip is getting some other colors. So all just gently, you want to protect that tip. It's a brush tip, so be real gentle with it, but I'll just kind of rub that off. All right, well, I hope that was fun for you. That was kind of interesting to me. Well done, Winsor Newton. And that is what a 40-year-old palette looks like, guys. Activated right up, vibrant colors, they spread well, still creamy. So I hope, this gives you some information on the quality of paints. All right, everybody, I will see you soon. Keep painting, keep having fun, and I'll keep sharing here. Thanks for being here with me. Bye-bye.